Jake Morrison stepped off the transport ship and looked around the massive space station. The place was huge, bigger than any human city he had ever seen. Lights of different colors glowed from the walls, and strange sounds filled the air. This was the Galactic Council Station, home to 12 different alien species who ruled the galaxy. He walked slowly through the corridors, his small team following behind him. Lisa Carter, his science advisor, carried a bag of gifts they had brought. From Earth, 2 security guards stayed close, but tried not to look threatening. This was very different from how humans usually visited the Council. 3 years ago, human ships had arrived at this same station, with weapons ready and soldiers marching in formation. The previous human ambassador had demanded a seat on the Council and threatened war if refused. That man had been loud, rude, and aggressive. He had made enemies of almost every alien species in the galaxy. But Jake was different. He smiled at the alien workers they passed in the hallways. When a small, furry creature dropped some tools, Jake stopped to help pick them up. The creature looked shocked that a human would help. Jake just nodded politely and continued walking. Ambassador Zextel waited for them at the main entrance to the council chambers. The reptilian alien was 7 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes. He had dealt with humans before and expected trouble, but Jake simply walked up to him and bowed slightly. "Ambassador Zextel," Jake said in a calm voice, "thank you for welcoming us. I brought something for you from Earth." Jake reached into his bag and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside was a carved turtle made from earth oak. Zextel's eyes grew wide. His people considered turtles to be sacred animals, symbols of wisdom and patience. "This is very thoughtful," Zextel said slowly. He could not hide his surprise. "How did you know about our customs?" "Lisa spent months studying your culture," Jake replied. "We wanted to show respect for your traditions." Lisa Carter stepped forward and spoke in perfect Saurian language. She told Zextel that humans were honored to learn from his peoples. Ancient wisdom. The reptilian ambassador's mouth fell open. No human had ever bothered to learn their language before. They entered the council chamber together. The room was enormous, with seats arranged in a circle. Each seat was designed for a different type of alien body. There were floating pods for the energy beings, water tanks for the aquatic species, and heated stones for the cold-blooded races. High Counselor Vixima sat in the center of the circle. She was the leader of the insectoid hive collective, with a body like a giant ant and multiple eyes that could see in all directions. She watched Jake carefully as he took his seat. "Human Morrison," she said in a voice that sounded like buzzing. "Insects. You are not what we expected." "I hope that is a good thing," Jake replied with a gentle smile. The other council members whispered among themselves. Counselor Threndak, an amphibian with smooth blue skin, leaned forward in his water-filled chair. "Where are your weapons? Where are your soldiers?" "We left them on our ship," Jake said. "We came here to talk, not to fight." This caused even more whispers. The council members looked at each other with confusion and worry. Humans always brought weapons. Humans always made threats. This polite behavior was completely new. Jake stood up and addressed the entire council. "I want to apologize for how humans have acted in the past. We were wrong to be aggressive and rude. We were wrong to threaten your people. We want to change." That, he gestured to Lisa, who activated a holographic display. It showed images of human colonies sharing food with alien refugees. It showed human doctors treating sick aliens for free. It showed human engineers helping to rebuild destroyed alien cities. "We have been helping other species for the past 6 months," Jake continued. "We ask for nothing in return. We only want to prove that humans can be good neighbors." The council, Members stared at the images in shock. Vexaima's multiple eyes focused on Jake like laser beams. "Why?" she demanded. "What do you want from us?" "We want to join the council," Jake said simply. "Not as conquerors, but as partners. We want to work together to make the galaxy a better place for everyone." The chamber fell silent. For several long minutes, no one spoke. Finally, Zexthal cleared his throat. "This is unexpected," he said. "We need time to discuss this among ourselves." "Of course," Jake replied. "We will wait as long as necessary." As the council members filed out of the chamber, they whispered urgently to each other. Some seemed curious about the humans' words. Others looked suspicious and worried. They had never seen humans act this way before. Lisa packed up their presentation materials, while Jake sat quietly in his chair. She could see the concern on his face. "Do you think they believed us?" she asked. "Some of them did," Jake replied. "But others think we are lying. They think this is all part of some bigger plan." "Can you blame them?" Lisa asked. "After what we did to the Kefter pirates, after the Proxima Wars, they have every reason to be suspicious." Jake nodded sadly. The human reputation in the galaxy was terrible. They had earned that reputation through years of violence and aggression. Changing that reputation would not be easy. Later that evening, the council met in secret session. The 12 species leaders gathered in a private room to discuss the human situation. The debate was heated and went on for hours. "This is obviously a trap," Vexaima insisted. "Humans do not change. They are violent by nature. But what if they are sincere?" Asked Threndak. "What if they really want to change?" "Then we watch them carefully," said Zexthal. "We give them a chance to prove themselves. But we stay ready for anything." The council agreed to monitor human activities closely. They would allow Jake and his team to remain on the station, but they would be watched at all times. Any sign of the old human aggression would result in immediate expulsion from Council Space Dot. As Jake lay in his quarters that night, he thought about the long road ahead. Changing the minds of 12 alien species would be the hardest thing humans had ever attempted, but they had to try. The future of humanity and the galaxy depended on it. Outside his window, the stars twinkled in the darkness of space. Somewhere out there, human colonies were proving every day that they could be different. They could be better. Jake only hoped the council would give them the chance to prove it. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison first arrived at the council station. In that time, everything had changed. The human diplomatic team had made friends with aliens from every species. They ate together in the station cafeteria, shared stories about their home worlds, and even celebrated alien holidays. Lisa Carter had become especially popular with the younger alien scientists. She spent her days in the research labs, working alongside crystalline beings who looked like living diamonds. Together, they had made breakthrough discoveries in quantum physics that could help all species travel faster through space. "Look at this data," Lisa said excitedly to her crystalline partner, Dr. Shimmerwing. "If we combine human computer technology with your crystal matrix calculations, we can reduce hyperspace travel time by 30%. Dr. Shimmerwing's body glowed brighter with excitement. This could help the outer colonies receive supplies much faster. Many beings are dying because medicine takes too long to reach them. Lisa nodded eagerly. That's exactly why we want to share this technology with everyone. No species should suffer when we can help. Meanwhile, Jake was busy in the diplomatic halls. He had successfully negotiated 3 major trade agreements that benefited all parties equally. The Saurian Confederation could now sell their rare metals to human colonies at fair prices. The Aquatic Federation gained access to human water purification technology. The Avian Republic received advanced aircraft designs in exchange for their navigation expertise. But what impressed the aliens most was what humans did without being asked. When the tentacled reaches suffered a terrible plague, human medical ships arrived within days. Dr. Amy Rodriguez led a team of doctors who worked around the clock to save alien lives. They asked for no payment and expected no reward. "Why do you help us?" asked a dying tentacled being as Dr. Rodriguez treated his illness. "Your species and ours have never even spoken before." Dr. Rodriguez gently adjusted the medical equipment. "Because you are alive and in pain. That is enough reason for us to help." The alien's multiple arms trembled with emotion. No species had ever shown such kindness to the tentacled reaches. They were considered ugly and useless by most of the galaxy. But humans treated them with the same care they would give to their own people. Captain Ben Walsh commanded the human fleet that patrolled the trade routes. His ships protected merchant vessels from all species, not just human ones. When pirates attacked a Saurian cargo ship, Walsh's cruiser arrived to help within hours. "Human ship, why do you risk your lives for us?" asked the Saurian captain after the pirates were driven away. "Because it is the right thing to do," Walsh replied simply. "Pirates are everyone's enemy. We all benefit when the trade routes are safe." This behavior confused and worried the council members. They met regularly to discuss the human situation, and their meetings grew more tense each time. Their influence is spreading too quickly. Vexima buzzed angrily during one emergency session. "Look at these reports. 16 different species have requested human assistance in the past month. The humans are building a network of allies across the entire galaxy." Ambassador Zextel studied the data carefully. "But they are not demanding anything in return. Every agreement they make benefits the other species more than it benefits humans." "That is exactly what makes this so suspicious," Vexima replied. "Humans are not naturally generous. This must be part of some larger plan." Counselor Threndax. Blue skin rippled with uncertainty. "What if we are wrong? What if they really have changed?" "Impossible," snapped Counselor Krextar, a being made of living metal. "I have studied human history. They are conquerors and destroyers. A species cannot change its fundamental nature in just a few years." The council ordered their intelligence services to watch human activities more closely. They placed hidden cameras in human quarters and listened to all human communications. They tracked every human ship and monitored every human colony. What they found only made them more suspicious. Humans were learning alien languages at an incredible rate. Not just the trade languages that were necessary for business, but the ancient, ceremonial languages that aliens used for their most sacred rituals. Human children in the colonies were being taught alien history alongside human history. Some human families had even adopted alien customs and traditions. "Look at this report from the Sigma colony," Vexima said, projecting images for the council to see. "Human families are celebrating Saurian egg-warming ceremonies. They have built meditation gardens in the style of the Crystalline Collective. They even observe the silence periods that honor our insectoid ancestors." The images showed human children playing with alien children, learning alien games, and singing alien songs. Human adults participated in alien religious ceremonies with genuine respect and reverence. "This level of cultural integration is unprecedented," admitted Zexthel. "But why would they do this if they planned to conquer us?" "Cultural understanding makes conquest more difficult, not easier." "Unless they are planning something we have never seen before," Vexima replied darkly. "Something that requires deep knowledge of our societies and our weaknesses." The council's suspicions grew even stronger when they discovered human survey activities. Human exploration ships were mapping uninhabited star systems throughout the galaxy. They always requested permission from the council before entering new sectors, and they always shared their findings with everyone. But the sheer scope of their surveys worried the alien leaders. "They are mapping everything," reported the council's chief intelligence officer, a ghostly being known as Phantom Prime. "Every asteroid field, every gas giant, every potentially habitable planet. They claim they are looking for new colonies, but the pattern suggests something else." "What kind of pattern?" asked Threndak. "They are focusing on systems that could support refugee populations," Phantom Prime explained. "Systems with multiple habitable worlds, abundant resources, and strategic locations for defense. It looks like they are preparing for a massive population movement." This revelation sent shockwaves through the council chamber. Were humans planning to relocate entire species? Were they preparing for some kind of galactic war that would create millions of refugees? "We must confront them," Vexima declared. "We cannot allow this suspicious behavior to continue without explanation." But Zexthal was not convinced. What if there is an innocent explanation? What if they really are trying to help? Then they will have no problem explaining their actions, Vexima replied. "If they are truly peaceful, they will welcome our questions." As the council debated, Jake Morrison sat in his quarters reading reports from human colonies across the galaxy. The news was all positive. Crime rates were down in systems where humans had established a presence. Trade disputes were being resolved peacefully. Several long-standing conflicts between alien species had been mediated by human diplomats. Lisa entered his room carrying a cup of saurian tea, a gesture of friendship she had learned from Ambassador Zexthal. "The council seems nervous," she observed, sitting down across from Jake. "The alien staff members are asking fewer questions and watching us more carefully." Jake nodded grimly. "I expected this. Our reputation precedes us. They do not trust rapid change because they have never seen it before." "Can you blame them?" Lisa asked. 3 years ago, we were shooting at their ships. Now we are offering to babysit their children. It does seem impossible." "But it is not impossible," Jake replied firmly. "We proved that change is possible. The question is whether they will give us enough time to prove it completely." Outside, in the corridors of the council station, alien beings whispered about the humans. Some spoke with admiration about human kindness and generosity. Others worried that this kindness was too good to be true. The debates grew more heated each day. In the depths of the station, the council's intelligence services worked around the clock to uncover the truth about human intentions. They analyzed every human action, every human word, every human gesture. They built complex computer models to predict human behavior. But nothing they found could explain why an entire species would change so dramatically in such a short time. The mystery of human politeness was becoming the greatest puzzle in galactic history, and the council was running out of patience for puzzles. The council chamber felt different when Jake Morrison entered it this time. The air was thick with tension, and the alien representatives sat straighter in their seats. Emergency sessions were rare, and everyone knew this one would be important. "Hi." Counselor Vexima stood at the center of the room, her multiple eyes focused on Jake like weapons. Around the circle, representatives from all 12 species watched silently. Ambassador Zexthal looked uncomfortable, his reptilian features showing worry. Counselor Threndak's blue skin had darkened to a deep purple, a sign of stress among his people. "Human Morrison," Vexima began, her voice buzzing with anger. "We have called this emergency session because your species' behavior has become unacceptable." Jake remained calm and polite. "I am sorry to hear that, High Counselor. How can we address your concerns?" "Do not pretend innocence," Vexima snapped. "We have been watching you. We have been studying your actions. Your so-called kindness is nothing more than an elaborate deception." Lisa Carter and Dr. Amy Rodriguez sat behind Jake, ready to provide support if needed. Captain Ben Walsh had been called from his ship to attend the session. All the humans looked confused by the accusations. Counselor Krexstar, the metallic being, activated a holographic display. We have evidence of your suspicious activities. Look at this data. The display showed maps of human survey missions, charts of human aid distribution, and graphs of human influence across the galaxy. Red lines connected human colonies to alien settlements, showing the web of relationships that had formed over the past 6 months. In just 6 months, you have established contact with over 200 alien worlds, Krexstar continued. You have inserted yourselves into 47 different conflicts. You have gained the trust of species that have never trusted anyone before. This is not normal behavior. Jake studied the display carefully. You are right, Counselor. We have been very active. But I do not understand why that is suspicious. Because it is too much, too fast, Maxima replied. Species do not change overnight. Cultures do not transform completely in just a few years. You expect us to believe that humans have abandoned their violent nature and become peaceful saints? It is impossible. Phantom Prime, the ghostly intelligence officer, materialized beside the display. We have evidence that you are mapping strategic locations throughout the galaxy. You are identifying systems suitable for massive population movements. What are you planning? Jake looked at his team, then back at the council. We are planning to help. Help with what? Demanded Vexima. Help with whatever comes next, Jake replied simply. We are preparing for disasters, conflicts, and emergencies that might require evacuating entire populations. We want to be ready to offer sanctuary to any species that needs it. The council members exchanged glances. This answer was not what they expected. Counselor Threndak leaned forward in his water-filled chair. You are preparing refugee camps? Not camps, Lisa Carter said, standing to address the council. New worlds. Permanent colonies where displaced beings can build new lives. We are not preparing to temporarily house refugees. We are preparing to give them permanent homes. Why? Asked Ambassador Zexthel, his reptilian voice showing genuine curiosity. Jake stood up slowly. Because we learned something important. We learned that the galaxy is a dangerous place and no species can survive alone. We learned that helping others is the same as helping ourselves. Pretty words, Vexima buzzed skeptically. But what? Proof do you have? What evidence can you show us that your motives are pure? Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to Captain Walsh. Ben, tell them about the Melbourne incident. Captain Walsh's face went pale. Jake, that information is classified. The Council does not have clearance for that data. Then I. Give them clearance, Jake replied firmly. Tell them everything. The Council members looked at each other with confusion. They had never heard of the Melbourne incident, and their intelligence services had found no record of it in human databases. Captain Walsh stood up reluctantly. 3 years ago, human forces were pursuing a group of Kethter pirates near the Melbourne system. The pirates were known to be extremely dangerous, and they had just raided several human colonies. He activated his personal communicator and projected a star map. The pirates were fleeing toward the edge of human space. Our ships were ordered to intercept them at any cost. The map showed the positions of human ships and pirate vessels. The pirates were clearly outnumbered and trying to escape. What we did not know, Walsh continued, his voice becoming quieter, was that the pirates were using a refugee convoy as a shield. The convoy was carrying children from 6 different species, all fleeing from a war zone in the Outer Rim. The council chamber became completely silent. Even the background hum of the station's system seemed to fade away. Our commanders gave the order to fire, Walsh said, his voice barely above a whisper. We destroyed the pirate ships, but we also destroyed the refugee convoy. 347 children died. Children who had done nothing wrong except be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Dr. Amy Rodriguez wiped tears from her eyes. I was part of the medical team that responded to the scene. We found the bodies floating in space. Some of them were so young, they had never even learned to walk. The alien representatives stared at the humans in shock. Several council members showed visible signs of distress. Counselor Threndak's skin had turned almost black with emotion. The Melbourne incident was classified because it was our greatest shame, Jake continued. But it was also our greatest teacher. We saw what our violence and aggression could lead to. We saw innocent beings die because we were too angry and too quick to fight. Lisa Carter activated another display, showing images from human colonies and cities. When news of the incident reached Earth, our entire society went into mourning. People took to the streets, not to protest, but to pray. They prayed for the children who died. They prayed for forgiveness. They prayed for the wisdom to never let it happen again. The images showed humans of all ages holding vigils for the alien children. They showed memorials being built in human cities. They showed human leaders publicly apologizing to the galaxy. We spent the next year studying everything we could about the species whose children we had killed, Jake said. We learned their languages, their cultures, their histories. We learned about their hopes and dreams. We learned that they were not so different from us. Jake walked to the center of the chamber, addressing each council member directly. We learned that every species in this galaxy has children. Every species has parents who love those children. Every species has dreams of a better future. And we learned that violence destroys all of those things. Vexona's multiple eyes blinked rapidly. You are saying that your entire species changed because of one incident? Not just one incident, Dr. Rodriguez replied. One moment of understanding. One moment when we saw ourselves clearly and did not like what we saw. Ambassador Zex Thiel. Voice was very quiet. What did you do with the bodies? Jake's voice broke slightly. We returned them to their families. We paid for proper funerals according to each species' customs. We built monuments in their honor. And we swore that we would never again be the cause of such suffering. The council chamber remained silent for several minutes. Finally, Counselor Threndak spoke. This is why you help other species now. Because you feel guilty about the past? No. Jake replied firmly. We help because we finally understand what we should have understood long ago. We help because it is right. We help because every life in this galaxy has value, regardless of what species it belongs to. High Counselor Vixima's buzzing voice was softer now. You are asking us to believe that an entire species can change its fundamental nature because of one tragic event? I am asking you to believe that any species can learn from its mistakes, Jake replied. I am asking you to believe that growth and change are possible, even for humans. The confrontation was over, but the real test was just beginning. The council chambers buzzed with quiet conversations for days after Jake Morrison's revelation about the Melbourne incident. The alien representatives were divided into two camps, those who believed the humans were sincere and those who remained suspicious. High Counselor Vexima fell firmly into the second group. Words are easy, she declared during a private council session. Any species can tell sad stories and claim they have changed. But actions reveal true character. We must test these humans to see if their peaceful behavior is genuine. Ambassador Zextil shifted uncomfortably in his seat. What kind of test did you have in mind? We will create situations where human interests conflict with galactic stability, Vexima replied. We will see if they choose personal gain or the greater good. If they are truly peaceful, they will sacrifice their own benefits for the welfare of others. Counselor Threndak's blue skin darkened with concern. That seems manipulative. If we are going to judge them, should we not be honest about it? This is not about honesty, Exima buzzed impatiently. This is about survival. If humans are deceiving us, we need to know before it is too late. The other council members agreed to the testing plan, though some did so reluctantly. They would create artificial crises and conflicts to see how humans responded when their interests were threatened. The first test began the following week. Ambassador Zexthil approached Jake Morrison with a serious problem. There is a major dispute between my people and the Hive Collective, Zexthil explained. We both claim ownership of the Kepler mining system. It contains rare minerals that both our species need desperately. Jake listened carefully as Zexthil explained the situation. The Saurians had discovered the system first, but the Hive Collective had established mining operations there years ago. Both species were demanding exclusive rights to the minerals. The dispute is becoming violent, Zexthil continued. Ships from both sides are gathering in the system. We need a neutral mediator to prevent bloodshed. What Zexthil did not tell Jake was that the Council had secretly instructed both sides to be unreasonable. The Saurians were told to demand complete ownership of the system. The Hive Collective was told to refuse any compromise. The test was designed to be impossible to solve fairly. Jake spent 3 days studying the situation. He reviewed historical records, mineral surveys, and legal documents. He spoke with representatives from both species, listening to their arguments and concerns. On the 4th day, Jake called a meeting with both sides. Lisa Carter and Dr. Amy Rodriguez joined him, along with Ambassador Zexthil and a Hive Collective representative. I have studied your dispute carefully, Jake began. Both species have valid claims to the Kepler system. The Saurians discovered it first, but the Hive Collective has invested heavily in developing it. The alien representatives glared at each other across the table, waiting to see whose side the human would take. Therefore, Jake continued, I propose that both species withdraw from the system completely. Everyone in the room stared at him in shock. Withdraw? Zexthil asked. But we need those minerals. I know, Jake replied calmly. That is why I am offering to purchase mining rights from both species. Humans will take over the mining operations and sell the minerals to both the Saurians and the Hive Collective at cost. We will make no profit from this arrangement. The Hive Collective representative buzzed with confusion. You would give up potential profits to solve our dispute? The minerals are less important than peace, Jake replied. If human involvement can prevent a war, then it is worth any cost. The test had backfired completely. Instead of choosing sides or seeking advantage, the humans had offered to sacrifice their own interests for the greater good. High Counselor Vexima was not satisfied with this result. She designed a second test, this one more direct. Captain Ben Walsh received an emergency message from the Council's intelligence service. A large fleet of unknown ships had been detected near the border of human space. The ships appeared to be of Kethter design, suggesting that the Pirate Confederation had regrouped and was planning a major attack. The target appears to be Earth itself, the intelligence officer reported. Our analysis suggests they are seeking revenge for your destruction of their main fleet 3 years ago. What Walsh did not know was that the pirate fleet was actually a collection of decommissioned alien vessels being controlled remotely. The Council had created a fake threat to see how humans would respond. Walsh immediately contacted Jake Morrison and the other human leaders. The news spread quickly through human space, causing panic and fear among the colonies. We need to mobilize the fleet, urged Admiral Kate Roberts, the senior human military commander. If the Kethter pirates are planning to attack Earth, we must be ready to defend our home world. But Jake had a different idea. What if we approach this differently? What if we try to negotiate with them? Negotiate with pirates? Admiral Roberts asked incredulously. They are criminals and murderers. They do not understand anything except violence. Maybe that was true in the past, Jake replied. But maybe we can change that. Maybe we can find a peaceful solution. Captain Walsh supported Jake's approach. Let me take a small diplomatic fleet to intercept them. If they truly want revenge, perhaps we can offer them something better than war. The human fleet that approached the fake pirate armada was unlike any military force the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of weapons, the ships carried medical supplies, food, and construction materials. Instead of soldiers, they carried doctors, engineers, and diplomats. When the human ships reached the supposed pirate fleet, Walsh broadcast a message on all frequencies. This is Captain Ben Walsh of the Human Diplomatic Corps. We know you seek revenge for past conflicts. We do not come to fight you. We come to offer you something better. We offer you peace, cooperation, and the chance to build a better future for your people. The fake pirate fleet did not respond because there was no one aboard to respond. But the council members watching from their monitoring stations were amazed by the human approach. They are trying to negotiate with pirates. Phantom Prime reported. Even when faced with a direct threat to their home world, they choose diplomacy over violence. Dr. Amy Rodriguez faced her own test when the council offered her access to advanced alien medical technology. A representative from the Crystalline Collective approached her with an incredible opportunity. We have developed a treatment that can cure most forms of cancer, the crystalline being explained. It could save millions of human lives. But we will only share this technology if you give us exclusive access to human genetic research. The offer was tempting. Cancer was still a major killer in human populations, and this treatment could eliminate it completely. But the terms of the deal troubled Amy. What do you mean by exclusive access? She asked. We want all human genetic data, the crystalline being replied. Everything you have learned about human biology, human evolution, human reproduction. We want to study your species in detail. Amy thought about the millions of humans who could be saved by the cancer treatment. But she also thought about the ethical implications of sharing genetic information. I cannot agree to those terms, she said finally. Human genetic information belongs to all humanity. I cannot give one species exclusive access to it. Then, you would rather let humans die of cancer? The crystalline being asked. I would rather find a way to share medical knowledge that benefits everyone, Amy replied. If your cancer treatment works, it could help other species too. Medical discoveries should be shared freely, not hoarded by a few. Each test confirmed what the council was beginning to suspect. Humans had genuinely changed. They were willing to sacrifice their own interests for the greater good. They chose cooperation over competition, diplomacy over violence, and shared benefit over exclusive advantage. But High Counselor Vexima was still not convinced. She prepared one final test, one that would reveal the truth about human nature once and for all. High Counselor Vexima prepared her final test with the precision of a master strategist. This time, she would not create artificial conflicts or false threats. Instead, she would uncover the truth through investigation. I want every piece of classified human information we can find, she ordered the Council's intelligence services. There must be something they are hiding. No species changes this completely without a deeper reason. Phantom Prime and his team worked for weeks, breaking through human security systems and intercepting private communications. What they found was not what anyone expected. Deep in the classified archives of human military records, they discovered detailed files about something called the Melbourne Incident. But these files contained much more information than Jake Morrison had revealed to the Council. The intelligence team gathered in a secure chamber to review their findings. Phantom Prime projected the classified documents for the Senior Council. Members to see. The Melbourne Incident was worse than the humans admitted, Phantom Prime reported. The refugee convoy was not just carrying children from 6 species. It was carrying over 800 beings, including entire families who had been fleeing war for months. The documents showed the complete horror of what had happened. Human military forces had fired on the convoy without warning, destroying 17 ships in seconds. The beings aboard had no time to escape or defend themselves. "Look at this," Phantom Prime continued, showing video footage from the aftermath. Human rescue teams found survivors floating in spacesuits. Children who had watched their parents die. Parents who had lost entire families. The footage was heartbreaking. Human soldiers and medics wept openly as they pulled bodies from the wreckage. Many of the rescuers required psychological treatment after witnessing the devastation. But the most shocking discovery was what happened next. A human government tried to cover up the incident, Phantom Prime explained. Military leaders wanted to classify it and forget it ever happened. But something unprecedented occurred. The files showed internal human communications from the days following the incident. Military personnel had leaked information about the convoy to civilian media. Scientists, doctors, teachers, and ordinary citizens had demanded answers from their government. The entire human population went into revolt. Phantom Prime continued. Not a violent revolt, but a moral one. Millions of humans took to the streets demanding change. They demanded that their government acknowledge what had happened and take responsibility for it. The documents showed images of massive peaceful protests across human worlds. People carried signs with the names of the alien children who had died. They held vigils and memorial services for beings they had never met. What happened next changed human society forever, Phantom Prime explained. The government was forced to release all information about the incident. Military leaders were put on trial. The entire human approach to galactic relations was restructured from the ground up. Ambassador Zexthal studied the documents carefully. This explains their behavioral change. It was not a government decision. It was a species-wide transformation, driven by genuine grief and guilt. But Vexuma was still skeptical. Grief fades. Guilt can be forgotten. This does not prove their change is permanent. There is more, Phantom Prime said, activating another set of files. Look at what humans have been doing in secret for the past 3 years. The new documents revealed a massive humanitarian effort that humans had been conducting without publicity. They had been searching for survivors and relatives of the beings who died in the Melbourne incident. They had been providing support, medical care, and financial assistance to the affected families. They have spent billions of credits helping the families of their victims, Phantom Prime reported. They built schools and hospitals on the home worlds of every species that lost children. They created scholarship funds to ensure that surviving siblings could receive education. And they did all of this without telling anyone. Lisa Carter had been working quietly with alien families for years, helping them cope with their loss. Dr. Amy Rodriguez had developed new medical treatments specifically for the species affected by the incident. Captain Ben Walsh had personally visited every family to apologize and offer assistance. This is not publicity or politics, Zexthal observed. This is genuine remorse and a sincere effort to make amends. The most powerful evidence came from personal communications between humans. Private messages between family members, friends, and colleagues showed the deep impact the Melbourne incident had on human society. One message from Jake Morrison to his sister read, "I cannot sleep at night knowing that we caused such suffering. Every policy we make, every decision we take, must be guided by the promise that we will never again be the cause of innocent death." Another message from Lisa Carter to her parents said, "I have dedicated my life to learning about other species because I want to understand the beings we hurt. I want to make sure their cultures and their memories are preserved and honored." The council members sat in stunned silence as they reviewed thousands of similar messages. The evidence was overwhelming. Humans had genuinely transformed themselves. Out of grief, guilt, and a desperate desire to prevent future tragedies. They are not planning conquest, Councillor Threndak said quietly. They are planning redemption. Vexaima's multiple eyes blinked rapidly as she processed this information. For months, she had been convinced that human politeness was a deception. But the evidence showed something far more profound, an entire species learning from its mistakes and choosing to become better. We must confront them with this information, she decided. We must know if they are aware that we have discovered their secrets. The next day, the council called another emergency session. This time, Jake Morrison entered the chamber to find the alien representatives looking at him with expressions ranging from sympathy to admiration. Human Morrison, Vexaima began, her buzzing voice much softer than usual. We have discovered the complete truth about the Melbourne incident and its aftermath. Jake's face went pale, but he remained calm. What truth is that, High Counselor? We know about the families you have been helping, she replied. We know about the schools and hospitals you built. We know about the scholarships, the medical treatments, and the personal visits. We know that your species transformation was not a political strategy, but a moral awakening. Jake looked at his team, then back at the council. We never intended to hide those activities. We simply did not think they were relevant to our diplomatic relationship with the council. Not relevant? Zexthil asked in amazement. You have spent 3 years and billions of credits trying to heal the damage you caused, and you do not think that is relevant? The families we hurt deserved our help, Jake replied simply. That was a debt we owed, not a diplomatic gesture. We helped them because it was right, not because we wanted recognition. Dr. Amy Rodriguez stood up to address the council. Every species has the capacity for growth and change. Humans are not special in that regard. We simply had a very painful lesson that forced us to confront our own nature. But you could have ignored that lesson, Councillor Threndak pointed out. Your government tried to cover up the incident. You could have let them succeed. No, Lisa Carter said firmly. We could not let innocent deaths be forgotten or ignored. We could not allow ourselves to become the kind of species that causes suffering and then pretends it never happened. High Counselor Vexima stood at the center of the chamber, her posture showing a respect that had not been there before. Human Morrison, your species has proven something we thought was impossible. You have shown that genuine change is possible, even after terrible mistakes. Jake bowed his head humbly. We are still learning, High Counselor. We are still trying to become worthy of the trust you have shown us. Then we have a proposal for you, Vexima announced. The Galactic Council offers humanity provisional membership, subject to a 5-year probationary period. During this time, your actions will be monitored by Council observers. If you maintain your peaceful behavior and continue to contribute positively to galactic society, you will be granted full membership. The chamber fell silent as Jake considered this offer. It was more than humans had dared to hope for. We accept your terms, Jake replied, but we ask for one addition to the agreement. What addition? Vexima asked. We want the council observers to be permanent, not just for 5 years, Jake said. We want external oversight to ensure that we never again become the species we once were. We want accountability to prevent future tragedies. The council members looked at each other in amazement. No species had ever requested permanent oversight. Most fought against any form of external monitoring. You would voluntarily submit to permanent observation? Zexthul asked. Yes, Jake replied without hesitation. Power without accountability leads to corruption. Strength without restraint leads to violence. We want to be held to the highest standards because we know what happens when we are not. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was welcomed into the Galactic Council with full rights and responsibilities. But more importantly, they had earned something far more valuable than political recognition. They had earned respect, trust, and the chance to help build a better galaxy for all species. Years